The artillery witches are among the most terrifying beings that stalk the ruined battlefields of the Levant and continental Europe. They are believed to originate from Hell's third circle, a realm known for its dark and infernal powers, where abominable factories and vile sorceries create the weapons of the demonic legions. It is speculated that these witches might not be living beings at all, but rather mechanical constructs of clockwork and steel created in these dark factories of hell. Artillery witches are completely mute, and their faces are never seen. This only complements their terrible reputation on the battlefield. They have the ability to manifest portals to hell, from which they can pull a seemingly infinite number of infernal bombs. These bombs are hurled using some impossible black magic, launching their munitions many miles to decimate the forces of New Antioch and scar the invincible iron wall of Iskandar. Survivors of encounters with these witches of hell are driven mad by their terrible visage, screaming themselves to death in the New Antioch military infirmaries. Their devastating effect, both physical and psychological, rank them among the most terrifying creations of hell. The Hell Knights are formidable warriors, their ever-burning banners streaming as they march to war, executing the will of their infernal masters. These bannerets of the high lords of the court lead the hunting parties of the serpent's nobility, who venture beyond the gate for their own amusement. Heretic priests whisper that these infernal warriors were once lesser fallen angels or mighty mortal champions elevated into devilhood. Cursed by their liege lords for real or imagined slights, they were cast out from the burning palaces of the pit. Their once splendid alabaster bodies are now twisted and folded upon themselves 1,000 times and encased in the tomb of their armor, which has become their eternal prison. To glimpse the body inside is to witness the sheer horror of divine flesh, warped with glaring eyes of light, blasphemous mouths, and pulsating inner organs that gibber and shriek, all crushed into a space barely 1/10 of their original form. Once privy to the secrets of creation, the minds of the Hell Knights are now clotted with endless blood-red waking dreams. Their thoughts are reduced to a singular, jagged prism of murderous obsession. Tormented by the cold of the earthly realm, which they must endure as humans suffer in the flames of hell, they remain mighty, but are a mere shadow of their former exalted glory. Even so, they are terrifying and implacable foes compared to mortal soldiers. The Hell Knights wield ancient and wicked weapons, such as greatswords and battle axes, forged by the household smiths deep in the bowels of their demon lord's keep. While these armaments may appear archaic to mortals, they are easily a match for even the most advanced arms from the foundries of New Antioch or the laboratories of the House of Wisdom. The Sin Eaters are among the most horrific progeny of hell. Once they were mortal men and women, perhaps starving wretches, insatiable gourmands, or priests obsessed with devouring the sins and eventually the bodies of their congregations. But their overwhelming greed and hunger for human flesh, tainted with sin, combined with the corrupting influence of the Hellgate, has turned them into a form that matches their inner foulness. They're swollen into monstrous proportions and are always at a point of nearly bursting, yet forever ravenous for more flesh and human sins to devour. The Sin Eater is one of the very few creatures that Beelzebub approves of, outside his own followers, due its insatiable gluttony. They sport a hole in their scorched helmets, so they might devour those they have slain even in the heat of battle. Yoke fiends are the twisted progeny of cursed devils, their lineage growing ever more debased and feeble over countless generations. Crossbred with beasts of the field by sadistic infernal biopriests, these lowest of all demon kin are condemned to eternal servitude. Lacking intelligence and tortured by their own perverse existence, they are filled with malice and fit only for the crudest of tasks. Deep within their black hearts lies a tiny polluted shard of divinity, a cruel legacy of their once angelic forefathers. This dim knowledge and their repulsive fallen state fill the Yoke fiends with unending hatred and envy towards any untouched part of creation. Throughout the endless plains of hell, Yoke fiends keep the great boiling cauldrons constantly lit, feeding the fires with the damned. They gleefully throw the endlessly shrieking souls into the boiling vats of pitch, finding solace in the torment of others. In work gangs 1,000,000 strong, the Yoke thralls cut the ubiquitous black stone in vast quarries. With this stone, they erect the great towers, keeps, ziggurats, and monuments of hell, glorifying their own bitter enslavement. Yoke fiends torment the leagues-long columns of the still-living damned as they march into the lake of fire. They whip them incessantly with scourges fashioned from the nerve bundles of still-conscious victims. This colossal human suffering powers the Gothic magic of the archdevils and their mortal servants, disturbing God's plan for the universe. When called to war, the bellows of these brutal creatures shake the very foundations of their Lord's manse. They are given simple but wicked weapons and delight in the pain they inflict. Axes, spiked clubs, curving hooks, pitchforks, and even simple firearms loaded with shot of infernal iron are wielded by these monstrous beings. A Yoke fiend stands 7 to 8 feet tall, with layers of shivering fat and muscle branded by their masters and carved by the knives of the hell priests to mark them as property of the greater demons. They exhibit bestial features such as horns and hooves of cattle or goats, and ape-like limbs with immensely dense bones. They despise their own reflections, knowing in their heart of hearts the beauty and glory they have lost for all eternity. Atop towering spires clawing against hell's black sky, the sorcerers of the court of the seven-headed serpent perform rituals and cast spells to advance their lord's schemes and machinations. Meditating in scrying chambers, their eerie, insane chanting echoes throughout their lord's fiefdom, summoning their lord's warbands to battle with their ululating cries. A mighty devil lord may command thousands of sorcerers. Each one is formed from a tiny sliver of a fallen angel, shattered after being cast out of heaven. Not truly dead or alive, they exist at the exact moment their original divine life ended. Though they have lost their seraphic gifts, their celestial origins grant them the potential to channel great power, acting as conduits of magic. Sorcerers study secret spells of destruction and manipulation from ancient tablets atop hell's many-peaked, unsettling mountains. Just as God gave his laws on the holy mountain, hell provides its dark arts from its pinnacles. Sorcerers use blind augurs and soothsayers, damned seekers of enlightenment, to find these tablets. Following their diviners' clues, sorcerers scour the ever-shifting maps of hell in their blasphemous libraries. When the time and place are discerned, a great expedition is mounted to discover a priceless tablet. Finding a tablet may take decades, centuries, or even millennia, as time in hell flows unevenly. The wilds of hell are ever-changing and filled with strange, deadly creatures. Upon reaching the appointed mountain, the sorcerer must climb alone. The mountain's crown is ringed with standing stones, humming with coiled power. Above them, a great pillar of smoke hangs like an abscess in the sky, whispering fell voices. The sorcerer enters, praying to return with the tablet. The presence in the smoke judges them. Most are found unworthy, and the tablet melts their bodies over 7 years, draining their tarnished divinity to enhance the spells inscribed for a more worthy sorcerer. In the rare case that a sorcerer returns with a tablet, armies of demon scribes must translate and decipher it. Often the results are catastrophic, annihilating a devil lord's keep and surrounding fiefdom. However, some sorcerers succeed and become mighty masters of Gothic spells, powered by the suffering of mortals the court buys from hell's markets or acquires as tithes from mortal followers. Each sorcerer specializes in a school of one of the 7 deadly sins. Sorcerers come in many forms, manipulating their bodies to better cast their mighty spells. Some have many arms, others multiple heads, or countless alterations and terrible improvements. Some self-administered, others forced upon them by the archdevil and their cabal of high sorcerers. Sorcerers' feet never touch the ground, a distant echo of their angelic past. They float across no man's land's battlefields, chanting hell's cruel gospel as they advance. Their dark wisdom and cunning make them equally capable of leading the court's war bands or advising the court's nobles as they stride into the mortal realms.